Greetings, and welcome to my video. From thelivingroom.com. Mission Patches. Their sources and meaning. G.H.O.S.T. One of the more recent patches from the Ghost Squadron based at Groom Lake. The design of the skull's helmet indicates that Ghost is a helicopter unit. The footprints on the helmet mark the trace of the Jolly Green Giant, a symbol that represents helicopter search and rescue missions. This patch also seems to indicate that G.H.O.S.T. is an acronym for the unit. The meaning of the acronym is unclear. Spying on the government. The amount of money spent on secret Pentagon projects, the so-called black budget, has reached unprecedented levels in the past few years. This level of hidden military spending translates into a variety of extremely peculiar built environments and landscapes. From the popular phenomenon of Area 51, to discrete locales like the Helendale Avionics Facility, the Southwest is littered with places where the military develops, tests, and operates technologies that do not exist. Among industry insiders, these clandestine infrastructures and secret bases are collectively known as the Black World. Bird of Prey. The Bird of Prey was a highly classified technology demonstrator that first flew at Groom Lake in 1996. Built by a secretive division of McDonnell Douglas, later acquired by Boeing, known as the Phantom Works, the aircraft was flown by Boeing pilots Rudy Haug and Joe Fellock. Doug Benjamin of the Secret Special Projects Flight Test Squadron was the only Air Force pilot to fly the aircraft. Although the shape of the plane was secret in 1996, the Bird of Prey patch contained an important clue. When Boeing declassified the Bird of Prey's existence in 2002, it became obvious that the handle of the sword was essentially the same shape as the aircraft. This distinctive sword has since become incorporated into the symbolism of the Special Projects Flight Test Squadron. Global Engagement Military Space Plane Technology Program. This patch is from the Phillips Laboratory Military Space Plane Technology, MIST, Program Office at Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico. The original version of the patch sported an X-Wing fighter from the Star Wars movies. When lawyers representing George Lucas delivered the unit a cease and desist order, the aircraft on the patch was changed into the shape that appears on this patch. Behind the green door. The origins and purpose of this patch remain obscure. The green figure holding the sword, or dagger, wears the cloak and dagger garb often associated with black projects. There is a star in the northern hemisphere under the letter S and another red star in the American Southwest. The red star might refer to an operating location, but the patch provides no real clue as to where it might be. The Southwest is home to numerous classified units. Air Force Space Command in Colorado, Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico, White Sands, New Mexico, Groom Lake, Nevada, and the Tonopah Test Range are all possibilities, and there are many more. The words "a lifetime of silence" no doubt refer to the fact that members of this unit or project cannot speak about what they do. The image of a green door is also obscure. Military intelligence officers have a tradition of working behind locked green vault doors, but the symbol is widely used in popular culture to designate an inaccessible place. I have done a little research about the green door patch. My uncle, who is ex-CIA, said he believes it is from the intelligence department. That seems to be true, according to what I have found out thus far. The sensitivity of intelligence information usually requires special handling by individuals with special clearances. This fact distinguishes intelligence data from most other types of military information. Historically, intelligence data has been a closely held resource. The very fact that a piece of information was known could reveal the source. For example, US and British leaders faced many a dilemma during World War II over the use of intelligence collected via deciphered purple, Japan, and Enigma, Nazi Germany, messages. Too much use of information derived from deciphered messages would have advertised the fact of our code-breaking success. This sensitivity to collection and dissemination of intelligence data led to a closed-door approach, known to many as the Green Door Syndrome, to all areas of intelligence. The Green Door Syndrome dictated the secrecy of communications in support of intelligence efforts. With the advent of increasingly sensitive collection methods, the requirement to keep sensitive sources and methods behind the green door became even greater. The fact that certain circuits even existed required and continue to require classification levels far above those held by many mainstream communications providers. This sensitivity to all things intelligence-related has led to the creation of a worldwide communications infrastructure dedicated solely for the use of, and managed by, the intelligence community. The mystery of the spy master's metaphor. Everybody talks about military capability or law enforcement capability, George Tenet told the 9/11 Commission in April, 3 months before his resignation as Director of Central Intelligence. Well, we sit behind the green door. And for the bang for the buck, the American taxpayer gets a hell of a lot for what we give them. Grim Reapers. Grim Reapers was the nickname of the 4,451st Test Squadron, which operated under the 4,450th Tactical Group at the Tonopah Test Range during the 1980s. The unit's mission was to fly a squadron of classified stealth fighters. When the Pentagon announced the existence of the stealth fighter program in the late 1980s, the Grim Reapers were redesignated as the 416th Tactical Fighter Squadron. After the Grim Reapers' existence became public, the Air Force forced the unit to change their name, as it did not pass the Air Force's requirements for good taste. The Grim Reapers thus became the Ghost Riders. Electronic Warfare Directorate. Testum Pontus Veritas. The Electronic Warfare Directorate is the primary EW test organization at Edwards Air Force Base. Electronic warfare consists of defensive and offensive avionics and includes the so-called info-war revolution in military technologies. Commenting on information warfare, Air Force Chief of Staff John Jumper told Aviation Week and Space Technology that we're rapidly approaching the time when you can tell an SA-10's surface-to-air missile system radar that it's a Maytag washer, and put it in the rinse cycle instead of the firing cycle. The crow-clutching lightning bolts has been a standard symbol of electronic warfare for at least the past half-century. There is no mystery there. Offensive and defensive avionics technicians are referred to as crows. Don't ask, NOYFB. This patch is from the 22nd Military Airlift Squadron, who flew C-5 cargo aircraft out of Travis Air Force Base in Northern California. Part of the 22nd MOS mission was to conduct late-night operations picking up classified aircraft from aerospace plants in Southern California and delivering them to classified locations for testing and evaluation. When the 22nd MOS undertook these missions, its crews would take off their everyday heraldry and velcro this patch to their uniforms. The black background and crescent moon on the patch probably represent the unit's night operations. The silver lining represents starlight. The question mark signifies classified operations. The letters NOYFB stand for none of your fricking business. Special projects. Procol este profani. This patch is from the 416th Flight Test Squadron's Special Projects Flight, working on advanced technologies, for the F-16 Combined Test Force, at Edwards Air Force Base. The phrase Procol este profani is usually associated with Virgil's epic poem the Aeneid. When Apollo arrives at the Temple of Apollo, the prophet Sibyl utters the words Procol, O Procol este profane before the pair descend into Hades, where Aeneas is told about the future of Rome. Members of the unit translate the phrase as keep your distance, you who are uninitiated. F-22 Low Observatory Flight Test. Raptor 4004 just passing through. This commemorative patch for a classified flight test of an F-22 Raptor aircraft at Groom Lake shares many symbols with the Special Projects Flight Test Squadron patch. The mascot here is a raptor wearing the clothes of a wizard, like those on the Special Projects Flight Test Squadron patch. The Greek letter sigma hangs from the figure's neck. The collection of 6 stars, again, is a reference to Area 51. The phrase IDB may reference the intended or actual radar cross-section measurement of the aircraft. The words just passing through reference the fact that, for this test, the airplane had only to fly through the RCS measurement range, while engineers collected data from monitoring stations on the ground. DoD Shuttle. STS Contingency Support Office. DoD Shuttle Mission Patches. Department of Defense. Contingency means in case of trouble. What, whom, are they expecting? Notice how the ship looks more like the Buran than ATS? NRO2SLSLMA. I have read that the 4 white stars may represent that the classified satellite launched into orbit was actually the 4th of its type. 4 stars. 4 satellites. BXXVI, the only thing I could find was that this may refer to a US naval photographic plate showing a total eclipse of the sun. If you look at the patch, there is what appears to be a sun behind the eye on top of the pyramid. NRO, this is definitely the letters for the National Reconnaissance Office. 2SLS, I believe this refers to the 2nd Space Launch Squadron. They oversee the conduct of safe, reliable, and timely launch operations to support Department of Defense, national and commercial customers. That looks like a Titan IV heavy lift vehicle on the patch, and that is part of the responsibility of the 2SLS. LMA, I believe this is referring to Lockheed Martin Aerospace, or Aeronautics. Suprasummus is Latin and loosely translated means above or most superior and highest. The BXXVII on the patch is no mystery. The launch vehicle was a Titan IV-B, number 28, usually denoted simply as B-28. I went to Vandenberg for that launch, but it got scrubbed, so the next day I watched it from Edwards AFB. Omnis vestri substructio es servis ad nobis. Loosely translated to English, all your base are servant to us. Freedomus eo anat cosimus. Here again we see the grouping of 5+1 stars, with a smaller grouping of 3 stars, which may represent Detachment 3. This patch is from an unknown program that took place at Groom Lake, Area 51, sometime during the late 1990s. The collection of 6 stars above the eagle's head may represent Area 51, 5+1 stars, while the collection of 3 stars below the eagle might represent Detachment 3. Groom Lake is also known as Air Force Flight Test Center, Detachment 3. The phrase Freedomus eo anat cosimus is a garbled concoction of Dog Latin and Dog Greek. Although the intended meaning of the phrase is entirely unclear, one might venture the guess freedom throughout the cosmos. Panther Den. Defending and attacking, electronic warfare. Panther Den is a special access program, SAP, based at Hanscom Air Force Base in Massachusetts. Managed by the Big Safari Project Office, Panther Den is charged with overseeing classified information warfare projects. Related to electronic warfare, information warfare involves defending and attacking computer networks and other kinds of information infrastructure. Projects falling under Panther Den's umbrella include Pirate Sword, Steel Puma, and Project Deborah. Special Projects Flight Test Squadron. On the left of the wizard, is the now familiar collection of stars 5+1, indicating the unit's operating location Area 51. Note the shape of the handle on the sword. Based at the Air Force's secret base near Groom Lake, Nevada, the Special Projects Flight Test Squadron is the Air Force's only black flight test squadron for classified prototype aircraft and advanced concept technology demonstrators. The squadron's mascot is a wizard. A collection of 6 stars, 5+1, on the patch references the unit's operating location, the secret base known as Area 51. The lowercase Greek sigma symbol in the wizard's right hand is the engineering symbol for the unknown value of an object's radar cross-section, RCS. The ideal radar signature of a stealth aircraft is 0. While no stealth aircraft has yet achieved this goal, several have come close. On the right side of the patch, the falling globe references the hollow aluminum spheres dropped from the sky to calibrate radar equipment. A sphere of a given size has a known RCS value. Lightning bolts, such as the one emanating from the wizard's staff, seem to refer to electronic warfare. The aircraft in the lower right is probably a generic symbol representing flight testing of advanced aircraft. The sword at the bottom of the image refers to a recently declassified Boeing stealth demonstrator known as the Bird of Prey. The handle on the sword approximates the shape of the aircraft. The National Reconnaissance Office Dragon. This program patch from the National Reconnaissance Office, the United States Black Space Agency, whose existence was a secret until the early 1990s. The agency was formed in the 1960s. Dragon is a code name within the Byman Information Compartment for the infrared imaging capabilities on Crystal, advanced KH-11, reconnaissance satellites. Black Stratotankers. This patch comes from an unidentified air refueling squadron, charged with supporting black aircraft projects. The object in the character's hand is a fuel boom from a tanker aircraft, such as a KC-135 or a KC-10. The letters NKAWTG at the bottom of the image refer to the unofficial motto of the Air Force's tanker units: "No one kicks ass without tanker gas." Go to RAF Mildenhall on any day of the week and you will see a number of large grey painted aircraft with a black square containing a white letter D on their tails. These aircraft are the Boeing KC-135R Stratotankers, assigned to the 351st Aerial Refueling Squadron, ARS, of the 100th Air Refueling Wing, ARW, one of the resident units at the base. Still classified Minotaur. Minotaur is a still classified program undertaken by Lockheed Martin's Advanced Development Programs Division, the Skunk Works. Although Minotaur remains obscure, rumor holds that the airframe shares a family resemblance with another Skunk Works program called Minion, and may have served as a technology demonstrator for that program. Does this pertain to the Minotaur missile program? Advanced Technology Observation Platform. Atop FIRDM Vigilance Flight Test Team. The letters atop on this patch stand for Advanced Technology Observation Platform, whose first flight was on October 28, 1990. The Latin phrase FIRDM Vigilance translates as vigilance through stealth. No further information about this patch or program is known. Officials at the Flight Test Center at Edwards Air Force Base claim that the program depicted isn't one of ours. Mysterious unmanned aerial aircraft at Kandahar. Reports are coming out of Afghanistan this spring about sightings of a large reconnaissance aircraft, unlike any previously known to the military aviation industry. Rumor has it that this aircraft has also been seen by U-2 pilots, flying high-altitude reconnaissance missions over Iraq. With remote, Taliban-controlled areas in Pakistan and Afghanistan inaccessible to boots-on-the-ground intelligence, the United States and NATO rely heavily upon aerial reconnaissance, using unmanned aerial vehicles. When aircraft designation includes combat, then it is weaponized, can release bombs, and is not restricted to surveillance. UAVs are very different than Predator drones, whose sole mission is to take out a target. Prowler, Desert Prowler. Alone and on the prowl. Notice the Latin numerals. IX, 9. XI, 11. This is one of two patches known to be associated with a black Lockheed Martin Skunk Works project named Prowler, or Desert Prowler. The project was active as of late 2005. A photograph of the Beast of Kandahar, the classified stealth UAV first reported in April, has emerged on a blog linked to left-wing French newspaper Libération. The photo confirms that the previous artist's impressions were largely accurate. The jet has long, slender outer wings, spanning as much as 80 feet, mated to a stouter, deeper center body with a pointed nose. One important detail: the over-wing fairings are not B2-like inlets, but cover some kind of equipment, satcoms on one side, perhaps, and a sensor on the other. Desert Prowler. A second patch associated with the classified Desert Prowler project. Again, the collection of 5+1 stars may represent the classified operating location at Groom Lake, Nevada, also known as Area 51. The meaning of the other symbols on this patch is unclear. The sixth Joker's Wraith image from the album cover was used on a flight test patch for the Lockheed Skunk Works Black Ops Desert Prowler program. It features the Wraith with added red eyes, surrounded by 6 stars with the words Desert Prowler, alone and on the prowl. The symbol of the Wraith is said to have originated with the Wraith, Shangri-La. An album by Insane Clown Posse. The Wraith, which represents the sixth Joker's card, is in essence the Grim Reaper, or Death. According to the group's mythology, upon your death, the Wraith takes you to either Shangri-La, heaven, or to Hell's Pit, hell. In the Wraith, Shangri-La, the ICP guides the listener as the Dark Wraith takes the listener upon an exhibition of heaven, while he may change his mind and try to pull you out of heaven, whereas in the group's 9th studio album, Hell's Pit, the pure Wraith takes the listener on a voyage through hell. 10CAP. 10CAP is an acronym for Tactical Exploitation of National Capabilities, a collection of programs that involve developing tactical, battlefield, applications out of reconnaissance satellite capabilities, which are normally thought of as strategic. Special almost invariably means black or highly classified. The phrase adherent dum machuant is usually associated with Caligula, the 1st century Roman emperor whose name became synonymous with depravity, madness, and tyranny. MK, they left out mass murderer. It translates as, let them hate so long as they fear. NRO, snakes. Numquam anti numquam iterum. NRO snakes, numquam anti numquam iterum. A National Reconnaissance Office program patch, whose referent remains entirely obscure. The Latin inscription translates as never before, never again. M.K. Note, actually a reptilian saying, they were never removed from the earth in the past, and they vow not to be exiled now. Note, the 3 vipers. The 3 blue stars. The 8 white stars. And the tail of the vipers wraps around the earth. If I tell you I have to kill you. A generic patch for black projects designed by a member of Air Test and Evaluation Squadron 4, VX4, based at Point Mugu near Camarillo, California. VX4 eventually merged with VX5 from NAWC China Lake, also in Southern California, to become VX9 with detachments at both locations. Unified Space Vault. Our friend the Wizard again. The Unified Space Vault, USV, as one of 5 divisions of the 614th Air and Space Operations Center, 614 AOC, Joint Space Operations Center, JSPOC, provides a focused approach for all 614 AOC, JSPOC vault activities and coordinates critical space operations, to include laser clearinghouse and information operations, in order to protect national space assets, and serves as the unique interface between special programs and national and DoD space systems to enable synchronization of U.S. operations in space. To accomplish that mission, the division provides expertise to, and leverages expertise from, the other components and partners of the 14th Air Force, AFSTRAT, Joint Functional Component Command for Space, JFCC Space, Enterprise. The USV is made up of officer, enlisted, civil servant and contract personnel from Air Force, Army, and Navy military services. The cat is out of the bag. I believe we have here a patch from the National Reconnaissance Office, NRO, in conjunction with the partnership of the U.S. Air Force's 2nd Space Launch Squadron, 2SLS, located at Vandenberg Air Force Base, California. 2nd Space Launch Squadron, National Reconnaissance Office Mission B-12. The cat's out of the bag. This classified National Reconnaissance Office satellite represented the first successful Titan launch in 4 attempts. The payload had been reported to be a Lacrosse radar imaging reconnaissance satellite. However, the short 50-foot Titan fairing was used instead of the 66-foot fairing used by Lacrosse. This only seems to be used previously for an improved crystal photo reconnaissance satellite in November 1992. The payload therefore could be related to the ocean surveillance triplets, or be an improved crystal derivative. Veteran amateur satellite watchers believed it was the second launch of Misty, a stealthy optical reconnaissance satellite, the first launch being USA-53 in February 1990. Science NTIA Pot NTIAS, Knowledge is Power. 192nd Intelligence Squadron Patch. The significance of THE-192D Intelligence Squadron Patch, ultramarine blue and Air Force yellow are the Air Force colors. Blue alludes to the sky, the primary theater of Air Force operations. Yellow refers to the sun and the excellence required of Air Force personnel. The key represents military intelligence. The lightning bolts signify electromagnetic emissions. The globe symbolizes Earth, representing the global nature of the unit's support operations. The unit's motto, Science Ntia Pot Ntia Est, is a quote attributed to Sir Francis Bacon, which is paraphrased as "Knowledge is power," representing the squadron's mission of generating intelligence information to accomplish national objectives. NROL-32 launch. Here is the latest secret satellite that was just launched. The launch was from a relatively new group on the block. 45th Space Wing. ULA, United Launch Alliance. 411th Flight Test Squadron. The 411th Flight Test Squadron, 411 FLTS, is part of the 412th Test Wing based at Edwards Air Force Base, California. It performed competition testing for the YF-22 and YF-23 aircraft. The 411th performed flight testing and evaluation to select the Air Force's Advanced Tactical Fighter of the Future. On March 25, 2009, an F-22 operated by a squadron pilot, David P. Cooley, crashed 35 miles northeast of Edwards Air Force Base during a training flight. Yes, we flew F-22 and 23s. Like the 4452nd flew the A-7. However, a correction to our location, it's the north base of EDW. Just a little clarification. The 4452nd really tested the F-117. Flying the A-7 was a cover story. Defenders of the domain. One of the most compelling pieces from Schriever AFB is this next badge below. Here, we see a simplified but undeniable diagram of the global grid I have written about for so many years. The real grid is not made of a square pattern like this, but is otherwise extremely similar, including the spherical nodes where the lines cross. We also see a Knight Templar in full royal regalia. Source: DivineCosmos.com. Defenders of the Domain. This is a subgroup of the NSA Information Assurance Group. It is composed of individuals who are on the front lines in developing the strategy, the concepts, the planning, and the technical implementation in the information assurance domain. They are the true leaders in the world of cybersecurity. Thought form entities and protecting Earth. The nasty-looking hooded being, on the 2-3D Space Operations HQ badge, second over from the bottom left, clearly seems to represent the thought form entities I have been told these guardians of Earth are actively defending us against. Notice the being has at least two faces, one made by the two wing-like eyes in the middle, and another in profile view, on the left-hand side, where a pointy nose, brow, and chin are all clearly visible. The rear of the head, in profile view, suggests pointy ears. I have indeed heard from an insider, recently, that at least one ET group does in fact have pointy ears, and looks very similar to certain gargoyle faces we see on many Templar-designed buildings. Source: DivineCosmos.com. Emblem of the 2-3D Space Operations Squadron, 23 SOPs, a squadron of the United States Air Force, which operates New Boston Air Force Station in New Hampshire, a remote tracking station of the Air Force Satellite Control Network. Significance: blue and yellow are the Air Force colors. Blue alludes to the sky, the primary theater of Air Force operations. Yellow refers to the sun and the excellence required of Air Force personnel. The globe in a black disk suggests the Earth in space and reflects the squadron's theater of operations. The flight symbol represents a satellite in Earth orbit and signifies the unit's functions of telemetry, tracking, and command of satellites. The spectral figure embodies the ever-watchful efforts of the unit personnel in the performance of their duties. The pole star symbolizes true north and implies the squadron's dedication to its mission. Deep space surveillance, just who are we watching out there? NASA Space Operations and Experiments don't recall ever seeing this image on a NASA site. U.S. Naval Security Group activity. Midway Island. Vindicator. Built by Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works, the Vindicator system was a highly classified project, rumored to be more secret than the F-117A, the stealth fighter program, from the 1980s. This patch includes the Lockheed Advanced Development Project's skunk mascot, wearing a helmet and scarf. The device emanating a lightning bolt is a laser. The patch depicts a laser anemometer optical air data system, which takes the place of conventional pitot-static probes on stealth, or high-speed aircraft, where physical protrusions are undesirable. The device is a velocity indicator, or, in aviation parlance, a V-indicator. This technology has perhaps reached the limits of its secrecy. High-technology company Catch the Wind is commercializing a nacelle-mounted, forward-looking system capable of sensing both wind speed and direction, as well as rapid wind variations. In December 2009, the company released striking trial test results for the innovative lightweight technology, claimed as unique and named the Vindicator Laser Wind Sensor, LWS. Building upon 19 years of aerospace research know-how and experience, Catch the Wind, which was founded in September 2008, acquired a technology license from OADS for all its commercial, non-aviation applications. The Vindicator LWS uses advanced laser technology, combined with Doppler radar techniques, to analyze air particle movement and determine wind speed and direction. 413th Flight Test SQ. The 413th Test Squadron was designated and activated on October 2, 1992, when it was formed out of the disbanded 6513th Red Hats Test Squadron. The Red Hats had conducted flight testing of purloined Soviet MiGs and other aircraft at Groom Lake. In March 1994, the unit became the 413th Flight Test Squadron, nicknamed the Bombcats. Based at a restricted section of Edwards Air Force Base called North Base, the mission of the 413th was to organize flight tests of electronic warfare systems around the world. A detachment of the 413th, called the Nutcrackers, continued to operate out of Groom Lake and the Tonopah Test Range. Daily flights in unmarked beach aircraft shuttled members of the 413th to the secret bases each day. The 413th was responsible for a number of programs. Code names included Sundowner, Zipper, and Ibis Dawn. In May of 2004, the squadron was deactivated, although the unit designation was later transferred to a squadron, formed from a detachment of the 46th Operations Group, at Eglin Air Force Base in Florida. The remaining Bombcats assets became part of the Electronic Warfare Directorate, also headquartered at Edwards Air Force Base. Project Zipper. This patch represents an unknown project undertaken by the 413th Flight Test Squadron. The Zipper seems to refer to the fact that the project cannot be discussed. The first part of the phrase, "we make threats," might refer to making simulated, or real, electronic threats against aircraft. Nutcrackers. Nutcrackers was an alter ego of the 413th Flight Test Squadron, referring to detachments operating at classified locations, that included Groom Lake, and the Tonopah Test Range. The collection of 4+1+3 stars, on the left side of the patch, refers to the 413th Flight Test Squadron. The crow and the lightning bolts symbolize the unit's electronic warfare mission. Melior diabolus quem sais translates into English from Latin as, better than the devil, whom thou shalt know. The patch for NRO Launch 49 depicts a phoenix rising from the flames. The patch also features 14 stars, including one being carried in the bird's beak. There also appears to be a 15th star obscured by the bird's wing. There's a long tradition in such patches for the stars to symbolize the number of payloads launched. 14 stars just happens to be the number of KH-11 type electro-optical satellites successfully launched by the United States over the years, including the one being carried into orbit by this bird. A 15th launch, the one obscured star ended in failure. The Latin words, Melior diabolus quem sais, are inscribed on the patch. This roughly translates to mean, the devil you know, as in the phrase better the devil you know, than the devil you don't know. All of these symbols hint that this is the 15th launch of a KH-11 type electro-optical reconnaissance satellite. Vandenberg AFB, California, January 20, 2011, with the moon beaming above, a United Launch Alliance Delta IV Heavy sits poised on its launch pad with a National Reconnaissance Office payload at Space Launch Complex 6. The Delta IV Heavy, standing 235 feet tall, will be the largest rocket to ever launch from the west coast of the U.S. With its nearly 2 million pounds of thrust, the Delta IV Heavy is America's most powerful liquid-fueled rocket. Photos by Pat Corkery, United Launch Alliance. NRO 66. Translates into English from Latin as, better than the devil, whom thou shalt know. Photo courtesy of spaceflightnow.com. Credit, Gene Blevins, LA Daily News. The Minotaur 1 rocket soars into the pre-dawn sky over Lompoc, California, in this long exposure image. February 6, 2011. The U.S. Spy Satellite Agency hasn't revealed what techniques or sensors the craft will test in space. Its cost, contractor, and size are also secret. But the lightweight payload launched on a Minotaur 1 rocket, the smallest booster used by the NRO since the agency's existence was declassified in 1992. The Minotaur's nose cone can fit a spacecraft as large as a kitchen refrigerator, and the 4-stage rocket can haul nearly 1,000 pounds into low-altitude polar orbits. Source: Space.com. Mars Exploration Rovers. These 2 launch team patches were produced before Spirit and Opportunity were given their names. MERA became Spirit and MERB was Opportunity. Thank you for watching. Please help spread the word, and make a difference, by sharing and subscribing for more thought-provoking content, and give us a thumbs up if you liked the video. Your support is greatly appreciated. Be aware, and stay safe.